Can wireless energy truly power Africa's future? This question echoes across boardrooms, rural landscapes, universities, and village squares, from Lagos to Lusaka. Africa faces an undeniable energy crisis that continues to strangle development and deepen inequality.
More than 600 million people on the continent still live without reliable access to electricity. Traditional energy infrastructure, primarily centralized grid systems, has failed to reach remote areas and rural communities. Expanding these grids is prohibitively expensive, logistically complicated, and often politically entangled.
In many countries, the national grid reaches only urban centers while the outskirts remain in darkness. For millions, kerosene lamps and diesel generators are the only sources of light and power. These alternatives are not only inefficient but also dangerous and environmentally unsustainable. It is within this challenging context that a beacon of hope has emerged in the form of wireless energy. From solar microgrids to electromagnetic power transmission, Africa is beginning to experiment with decentralized energy technologies. These solutions do not rely on traditional wired infrastructure. Instead, they harness energy from renewable sources and transmit it without the need for physical cables. This is not merely a technological trend, but a potential revolution in how energy is generated and consumed. The idea that the air itself could be a conduit for powering homes, schools, and businesses is as radical as it is transformative. Imagine a child in rural Kenya reading under a solar-charged lamp after sunset. Picture a health clinic in rural Malawi running life-saving refrigeration and diagnostic equipment from an off-grid solar hub. Visualize a village in northern Nigeria using a wireless charging station to power mobile phones and electric motorcycles. These images are no longer fantasy, but emerging realities fueled by innovation and necessity. Across the continent, pilots and small-scale deployments are already underway. In Rwanda, companies like Box are deploying smart solar systems that can be remotely managed and monitored. In Kenya, M-KOPA has connected hundreds of thousands of homes using pay-as-you-go solar systems. These systems use solar panels, batteries, and wireless control mechanisms to provide uninterrupted power. Users pay for their energy using mobile money, making electricity accessible even to low-income households. The beauty of these solutions lies in their adaptability and affordability. They bypass the need for massive infrastructure investments and allow for rapid deployment. Each installation becomes a node in a decentralized network of power generation and consumption.
This decentralization is particularly important in regions where state-owned utilities are plagued by inefficiency and corruption. Solar-powered water pumps are transforming agriculture in arid regions. Farmers in Ethiopia and Tanzania are using these pumps to irrigate their fields, ensuring food security and economic stability.
Wireless energy is also beginning to touch the education sector. Schools in remote areas are getting equipped with solar kits that include lighting, charging ports, and e-learning devices. These interventions are not just improving education, but also closing the digital divide. By providing power for tablets, routers, and projectors, they are connecting students to the global knowledge economy. Healthcare, too, is seeing the benefits. Solar-powered clinics can store vaccines, run diagnostic machines, and offer nighttime services. In countries with weak healthcare systems, this could be the difference between life and death. However, the road to a wireless energy future is not without its hurdles. Technical challenges remain a significant barrier to widespread adoption. One major issue is the efficiency of wireless energy transmission over long distances. While small-scale systems work well in localized settings, scaling up is still a scientific and engineering challenge. Weather variability affects solar and wind-based solutions. Inconsistent sunlight or wind can lead to fluctuations in energy availability. Battery technology has yet to catch up with the demands of consistent energy storage. Current batteries are either too expensive, too bulky, or not durable enough for Africa's varied environments. Extreme temperatures, humidity, and dust pose additional threats to the longevity of these systems. Maintenance and technical support are often lacking in remote areas. If a system breaks down, there may be no one nearby with the expertise or parts to fix it. Then there is the issue of cost.
Despite being cheaper than extending the national grid, initial installation costs for wireless systems can still be high. This limits adoption among low-income communities without financial aid or government subsidies. Security and theft of solar panels and batteries is another growing concern. In some places, these two
valuable components become targets, undermining the long-term sustainability of the installations. Government policy and support are crucial for overcoming these challenges. Some African nations are beginning to wake up to this reality. In South Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana, governments have introduced policies to promote renewable energy and off-grid solutions. They offer tax incentives, subsidies, and streamlined approval processes to attract investors. These policies are attracting private companies and foreign partners eager to enter the growing market. International development agencies are also stepping in. Organizations like the World Bank, USAID, and the African Development Bank are funding renewable energy projects. They are also supporting research and development to improve the technology. Public-private partnerships are forming to create ecosystems that can support the deployment of wireless energy.
In addition to hardware, these ecosystems include training programs for technicians, educational campaigns for users, and financial services to support consumer credit. Innovative business models are also emerging. Companies are adopting subscription-based and pay-as-you-go systems that lower entry barriers for poor households. These models align with the financial realities of many African families who may not afford large upfront payments. This convergence of finance and technology is creating a fertile ground for wireless energy adoption. But the future of this revolution depends on one critical factor: scalability. Africa is home to over 1.4 billion people with a rapidly growing population. Energy demand is set to explode in the coming decades. If wireless energy solutions are to meet this demand, they must scale quickly and efficiently. This requires continuous innovation in energy storage, transmission, and generation. It also requires policy coherence across national borders. Standardization of technologies and interoperability can accelerate adoption. Research institutions and universities must be empowered to develop local solutions. Africa cannot rely solely on imported technology. Local manufacturing and assembly can reduce costs and create jobs. Involving communities in the design and implementation of projects increases buy-in and ensures relevance. The youth demographic is another asset. With proper training and opportunities, young Africans can become the workforce and entrepreneurs of the wireless energy economy. In this vision of the future, energy is not just about electricity. It becomes a foundation for digital literacy, economic empowerment, health equity, and environmental sustainability. Each household connected wirelessly is a step toward a more inclusive and resilient Africa. Wireless energy is not a silver bullet, but it is a compelling part of the solution. It turns the challenge of Africa's vast geography into an opportunity. By leaping over the limitations of traditional grids, Africa can chart a new course in energy development, a course defined not by dependence, but by innovation, resilience, and empowerment. The seeds of this revolution are already being planted. What remains is the will to nurture them to full bloom. The next stage of Africa's wireless energy journey begins with people at the center of innovation. In Ghana, a startup called Solar Taxi is changing how urban mobility and wireless charging coexist.
They operate fleets of electric motorcycles and tricycles powered by solar energy and charge wirelessly at decentralized hubs. This model not only cuts emissions but also provides affordable transport for urban and peri-urban populations. Wireless power pads placed at transport stops allow riders to charge while waiting, effectively integrating mobility with clean energy. In Nigeria, innovations are emerging in disaster-prone and flood-affected regions where laying cables is no longer feasible. Here, communities rely on floating solar platforms that wirelessly transmit electricity to nearby structures.
These platforms are resilient, movable, and scalable depending on weather or settlement changes. Such mobility is a unique advantage of wireless energy systems over static infrastructure. Further south, in Botswana and Namibia, long-range radio frequency (RF) energy transmission is being tested for livestock tracking and perimeter security.
Wireless sensors placed in large farmlands are powered remotely without the need for frequent battery replacement. This not only secures assets, but also empowers farmers with real-time data to manage herds more effectively. At the heart of these systems lies a sophisticated blend of software, data science, and wireless transmission protocols. Cloud-based platforms now allow for real-time diagnostics, predictive maintenance, and usage. Analytics. Energy providers can detect faults before they occur and remotely shut down or reroute power to maintain supply. This level of control is unprecedented in conventional grid systems, and it reduces the need for large on-site teams. Smart energy management platforms are being tailored specifically for African conditions, with interfaces in local languages and offline capabilities. Artificial intelligence is helping optimize power distribution based on time-of-day demand, weather forecasts, and user patterns. Such innovations reduce wastage and increase system longevity, making them more viable in low-resource settings. The rise of local manufacturing hubs is another sign of this revolution taking root. In Kenya, Nigeria, and Ethiopia, small factories are assembling solar kits, inverters, and battery units for local consumption.
This reduces dependency on imports and ensures faster repair cycles when components fail. It also creates thousands of skilled and semi-skilled jobs, injecting vitality into regional economies. Vocational centers are offering training in solar technology, battery diagnostics, and microgrid design.
This educational thrust is cultivating a generation of technicians and engineers fluent in the language of clean, wireless power. Even in informal settlements, community champions are being trained to maintain and promote wireless systems. They conduct door-to-door outreach, helping users understand their systems and avoid unnecessary damage.
This local engagement transforms beneficiaries into stakeholders, reinforcing a culture of ownership and care. Women are also stepping into leadership roles within this sector. Female-led solar cooperatives in Uganda and Senegal are demonstrating the social potential of wireless energy.
These cooperatives not only generate power but reinvest profits into community initiatives like microloans and education scholarships. Wireless energy is empowering women economically and socially, changing household dynamics and inspiring youth. In Madagascar, remote villages have reported a significant drop in rural to urban migration since implementing solar microgrids. With electricity enabling economic activity and better living conditions, people are choosing to stay and build. This could reverse long-standing urban overcrowding trends, creating more balanced development.
Tourism is another beneficiary of wireless power. Eco-lodges in national parks are using solar and RF energy systems to offer luxury experiences without environmental damage. These lodges are off-grid yet connected, showing visitors the power of green technology in real-world applications.
They serve as both revenue generators and educational platforms for sustainable living. Meanwhile, in regional universities, innovation labs are buzzing with energy. Students are building low-cost versions of wireless transmitters and testing new materials for battery casing. They are working on hybrid models that combine kinetic, thermal, and solar energy into a unified charging system. Contests and grants are fueling these innovations, many of which are incubated into viable startups. Diaspora professionals are returning home to contribute, bringing expertise and investment with them. This brain gain is revitalizing sectors long neglected by state budgets and development agencies. Social media is playing a vital role in spreading success stories and raising awareness. Videos of nightlit schools and empowered entrepreneurs are inspiring others to adopt and invest. Crowdfunding platforms are enabling individuals worldwide to support African energy projects directly. These micro-contributions are bridging funding gaps where banks and governments hesitate. Blockchain is being explored for transparent energy transactions, reducing fraud and increasing trust in the system. Smart contracts are automating billing and enforcing service agreements without bureaucracy. In refugee camps and displaced persons settlements, wireless energy is proving to be a lifeline. Solar lanterns and communal charging stations are restoring dignity and security to those with nowhere else to turn. Energy independence in these settings can be the first step toward economic recovery and social stability. Despite all these advances, challenges remain and must be tackled head-on. Sustainable financing models need to be developed that work for both investors and consumers. There must be protection against market monopolies that could hinder access and innovation. Environmental concerns regarding battery disposal and material sourcing must be addressed with stringent regulation. Research into biodegradable and recyclable components must be prioritized. Carbon offset programs can be integrated into wireless energy deployments, helping Africa earn from emissions reductions. Africa's energy future can't be dictated by donors or foreign firms alone. African leadership, vision, and persistence must remain the guiding force. Regional cooperation through organizations like the African Union can create unified standards and joint infrastructure projects. Digital twinning and simulation tools can be used to model entire rural regions for energy needs and optimize layout before physical deployment. If this multi-layered momentum continues, wireless energy could become as transformative as the mobile phone. Just as mobile technology bypassed landlines, wireless energy can leap over wires. It could redefine what development means for the 21st century. The question is no longer whether Africa can afford wireless energy. The question is whether Africa can afford not to embrace it. The opportunity is immense. The need is urgent. The path is unconventional, but the payoff could be historic. This is no longer a dream. It is a movement, one powered by the sun, the wind, the air, and the will of the people. Africa's wireless energy revolution is not fiction. It is fact in the making.